Tonight, we'll take a look at Raiders past and present, going under the eye patch of the famed silver and black. And we begin with their fiery quarterback, Rich Gannon.
Good, Rich Gannon, here we go, Rich!
Oh, next play, Rich Gannon, did you hear that? That's me.
Excuse Rich Gannon for being surprised. He came into the league in 1988, but at first, he had a tough time proving he belonged as a quarterback. When you were drafted by the Patriots, what was your reaction when they said that they were going to make you a defensive back?
I love playing quarterback, and I really felt like I was good enough to play in the National Football League and you know, be a quarterback. I think the other thing is I was smart enough to realize that having never played the position, you know, how could I go into a National Football League training camp out of the University of Delaware and all of a sudden put on a different set of shoulder pads, a different helmet, and go play defense? And the chances of making the football team were slim to none. I just didn't feel like that was the right thing.
Gannon did make the Minnesota Vikings as a quarterback, but despite flashes of NFL ability, he didn't match the prototype of a full-time starter.
Got room to run to the 15, tries to get wide at the 10, cuts it back to the 5. Touchdown! Rich Gannon, super run!
When you were with the Vikings, you had that season when you were about 11-5. You take the team to the playoffs, and then they put in who? Sean Salisbury?
Right.
What did you think about that?
It was a disaster. I mean, we had developed a pretty good thing there in Minnesota, and I had worked a long time to kind of earn the respect of the offensive line and the guys around me, and we got off to a great start. We're 8-3, and I got sat down at halftime against Cleveland. I think the score at the time was 0-0. Denny Green never even came to me to tell me that I wasn't going to play the second half. The offensive coordinator came up to me and said, we're going to go with Sean, and we went out winning the football game, and then that next week, he never came to me and told me I wasn't going to start the following week. I just didn't think it was handled very well, and our relationship from there just deteriorated, and I got traded the following year.
So then you go to Kansas City, and it's almost a repeat. You go to Kansas City, you take the team into the playoffs, and then Elvis Grbac comes in. Did you ever get a sense then, Rich, that, you know, what the hell's going on here? All I ever wanted was a coach to believe in me, to give me an opportunity to start week one and to see what I could do with the football team through the course of a season. And fortunately for me, and it's taken a while, but I found that guy in John Gruden and the Oakland Raiders.
Come on, let's win a toss. Give me the ball.
Hey, during the regular season, would you think about kicking or no?
Not in this weather.
That's so nice.
Not with our offense. Kidding me? I want the ball back. It's like arena football.
Can you describe your meeting with John Gruden when you finally decided that, all right, I'm going to go with the Raiders. This is the guy I want to play for?
Well, it was a pretty interesting visit. You know, we went to some Mexican joint, I would call it.
It's one of my favorite places, and we talked for a couple hours.
And then from there, I guess it was time to entertain me, and so he said, well, what would you want to do? And I guess there was the opportunity to go to a Warriors game or to go to a banquet or to go stop at a 7-Eleven and pick up a six-pack of beer and go back to his office and watch film. So I chose the latter, and we went back and...
We watched practice film, game film. We watched film until late into the night.
And we started talking about the offense. And
Rich wanted to keep talking football, and so did I.
Just his enthusiasm for the game.
Back up at me, Rich. Back up at me. Bam! I want you to bring it down. I want to knock him out with the ball, okay?
They were separated by only 2 years of age. Two guys who were crazy about football, trying not to drive each other nuts.
92 week, Rich.
I get in there, I get 3 runs. So I'll just have to audible, just to piss John off, and then you get a little throw in there.
We interviewed John about you, and he said, Rich is the most miserable person I have ever met, and that's what I love about him.
Yeah. Well, he used to call me a Philly cab driver. I think he realizes I play the game with a certain chip on my shoulder. I feel in a way that I've been slighted by the National Football League. I'm the long shot, and I feel like I've lasted because I've had that Philly swagger, that Rocky mentality, and I think I use that to help me perform and to help me to get ready to play.
He reminds me a lot of myself in some ways.
Come on, let's go. Let's get after their ass.
Get after his ass.
Run right through these people.
Come on now, let's hurt him, let's hurt him.
You know, I've seen him have very little tolerance for anything but perfection.
Jerry! Jerry! Keep coming back! Damn, wait! Come on! Wait, when you go, baby. Just go 100 miles an hour. Because you know what happens, Wait? If you run, he runs with you, I run.
Rolling right again, same play. Brown covered. Gannon now running around.
It's great to have quarterbacks that can run.
He signed with the Raiders, and I let him know right away, I'm going to go down with you, or we're going to fly high together. And, you know, he's one of the great competitors that maybe I'll ever have a chance to be around.
Is it true that you had all the video games taken out of the locker room because you felt it was a distraction?
Yeah, there's some truth to that. In fact, in my first visit to the facility, I was getting the tour, and I came upon this room, and there's a pool table in there, and then there's the video games, and I was shocked. I really was. I mean, when do the players have time to do this? Well, at lunchtime, and I said, well, why aren't they watching film at lunchtime? I mean, if you worked at IBM, did they have a playroom at lunchtime? I just went in there one day, and I took all the stuff out of there, and took the pool balls. And
You did it yourself?
I took the pool balls, put them in a box, and threw them above my locker, and then I told them that I took it, and that if they had a problem, to come see me. And unfortunately, a couple guys did come see me. Guys would come and say, I think that we need the balls back. But you know what's amazing is those same guys that came to me and said that are no longer with our football team. And that's the reality.
Both quarterback and head coach were strict on preparation, though they didn't necessarily keep the same hours.
Well, obviously, it's impossible to beat the guy to work. I mean, I think he's in there about 4:15 in the morning. So I came one morning and the front door was locked. And I mean, there was nobody around. I was sitting there and I'm thinking, you know, I'm losing this opportunity to watch film. I got to lift at 7 o'clock. And so I looked up into the corner office, and there was that little light on. And so I figured that's the only way I'm going to get in, you know. And so I just looked for something to kind of get his attention. And
So you were throwing rocks at his window to get his attention?
Yeah, I was. You know, I'm trying to, win a championship here. I'm trying to do everything I can. Why don't you help me out? Why don't you let me in the building in the morning so I can get my work done? So they made me a key.
Once he was handed the keys to the offense, Rich Gannon became a perennial Pro Bowler and led Gruden's Raiders to the AFC Championship game.
Gannon back to pass on 3rd and 9. Throws end zone. Touchdown! What a pass there by Gannon!
What do you think, in your mind, is your biggest contribution to the Raiders?
Hopefully my legacy is that I came in to instill some leadership and some values in a team that, in my opinion, was down and out. And I'm not trying to take all the credit, but when I was with Kansas City, we consistently gave those guys a whooping.
Gannon being chased again, got him open. Block wide open, touchdown, Kansas City!
Rich Gannon? Damn, boy, I love you.
There was a belief in Kansas City that if you played with those guys and you kept the game close, somewhere along the line they'd make a mistake or they'd quit. When I came there, I made sure that everyone on that team knew that that's how the Chiefs felt about the Raiders.
Listen, I've been in this situation 10 times against this team. We go in there and we smash them and we kill their will, and this game is over.
I tried to challenge them and make them work harder and try and take their game to the next level so that wouldn't be the case anymore.
In fact, Gannon and Gruden's Raiders beat the Chiefs 5 of the 6 times they played.
Nice job!
The Philly cab driver followed directions left by Gruden during the Raiders' drive to the 2002 AFC title.
You know, he believed in me. I think that when you're a quarterback, there's nothing more important than to know that you got a head coach that believes in you, is going to stick with you through thick and thin. And, I always refer back to the piece that you guys did with Ron Jaworski and Dick Vermeil. And Jaworski throws an interception. He comes to the sidelines, and Dick tells him that, hey, listen, you're my guy. I'm not going to take you out.
You never have to worry about me jerking you.
I know it.
All right.
I'm not going to jerk you. That was it. I think that piece really stuck in my mind. That's something that I've always wanted in a head coach. And I never really had it until my 13th year in the National Football League with John Gruden.
Hey, you got a game ball here, man. You know who it's going to go to. Our guy, man. Our leader, the guy who does it all for us, man. The guy who works harder than anybody in this whole organization. The guy who cares about every one of us succeeding and winning the championship. John, thanks, bro.
Finally, I have that relationship with a guy who believes in me, who's going to stick by me, and it's going to give me a chance to go out and do what I do best.
Hey, Rich, you got me? All right, bro, good luck.